developing stories, I want to head over to our very own Julie Kay, who joins us live, second live shot here for Live Impact, back-to-back live shots. Now, okay, so you spent the morning watching virtually Governor Josh Stein's budget proposal news conference.
Yeah.
And we talked about it before. He laid out 3 big key things in that budget. So let's go in order. So he talked about education. That's a big chunk of the budget.
Yeah, and this is about a $33 billion budget just for 1 year. Again, this is a 2-year budget, so he's got a plan through 2027. But each year has about $34 billion, which is about what was expected. But more than half of that is dedicated to education. So that means, for example, he wants to add free breakfasts for all students K through 12 in public schools. But the biggest thing that we've talked about a lot is raising teacher pay. We've had this discussion in North Carolina for a very long time.
Long time.
Currently, I believe it's second in the Southeast, second from the bottom. Yes, so it's one of the lower ones. It's the lowest in terms of teacher pay for all of our neighbors, including South Carolina. So we've seen problems with teachers here in Charlotte maybe going over the border to go to Rock Hill or Fort Mill, some of those closer districts where you can get paid a lot more and still live in North Carolina. So that's one of his biggest things. There's already a bill going through the legislature right now, proposed by a Republican legislator, that would raise teacher pay up to $12,000 for some of those more experienced teachers, and it would start new teachers at $50,000, which is a $9,000 increase from where they currently are at $41,000. So that's not insignificant by any means. We did this story last week, and we talked about where are we actually going to get that money. Some things are going to fall through the cracks if we do this, but it seems like based on the bipartisan support and what he said today and in his State of the State last week, that this is a huge priority for him.
I was just thinking, as you were talking about education, it's specifically teacher pay. I remember about 20 years ago, my sister-in-law started teaching, and she had to work 2 other jobs, part-time jobs, to make sure she could even pay her rent. So it's been a big issue. I've covered rallies in downtown Raleigh, but that's on the budget. Let's move over to tax cuts.
Yeah.
Because that's going to impact many families here in North Carolina.
Absolutely. And that is kind of the theme, too, not just education, but families with kids. So I have it up here. Governor Stein proposed 3 tax cuts for working families. So that would be a child independent care tax cut, a child tax credit, and a working families tax cut, which he says could bring families $1,600 per year back, which is huge, especially if we're talking $41,000 lower than $50,000 salaries. Especially what you mentioned, too, about people saying they have to work other part-time jobs. That's even something we're hearing from teachers. They're saying we deserve a livable wage. Even CMS Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill brought it up last night, saying that she wants parents and families to call their legislators and request that this bill goes through. So this is definitely something I think we're going to see a lot of support for, both in the teacher pay and the tax cuts. That also means, though, that some other things are going to have to get cut. So we're still waiting to see what that actually looks like and how the Republican legislators are going to respond. Interesting, though, he did touch on getting rid of some of those tax breaks for corporations.
Okay.
So what it sounds like the main messaging here is from Stein is taking some of that money away from the corporations that maybe aren't even based in North Carolina or even America and putting them back into families.
And one major thing on the budget, Helene relief.
Yes.
I want to say in the first couple of days of his term, he was already in the mountains, Governor Stein, and he made a priority to help the folks in Western North Carolina still recovering from Hurricane Helene. What's in the proposed budget regarding relief efforts?
So what's interesting is the budget itself kind of addresses things around Helene, but it doesn't specifically have money set aside for Helene relief. That's going to have to come through the General Assembly. But he did talk about how he wants that to happen. So he already requested, you mentioned he was out there in the first week of his tenure talking about getting funding to Western North Carolina. He actually requested $1 billion, a little more than $1 billion from the legislature. They came back with a $500 million, billion would be a lot, $500 million bill that they've been trying to get through for about over a month now, but it's been going kind of back and forth between the House and Senate. Today, Governor Stein says he is ready and eager to sign it today.
Okay.
So the latest update is, like I said, we started at $500 million. Then one chamber said we actually want $530 30 or so, and then it went back. And so we've been going back and forth for a while about how much to actually spend. One house wanted more for school learning recovery. One house wanted more for housing reconstruction. So just some of those details. But as of yesterday, the House finally passed a $524 million aid package. That now goes to the Senate, and they're talking about it today at 4. Governor Stein says he expects it to go through. He would like it to at the very least, and then he plans to sign it pretty much immediately. What's interesting, though, is even if this doesn't pass today, he said, I'm ready to request even more money. Because like I said, this is about half of what he initially requested. Every little bit helps, and everyone we've talked to in the mountains says we need this now. We need this fast. So any amount of money, even if it's not what he originally wanted, he seems to be in support of. But he's ready to keep going. So it certainly does not end here, even if it passes today.
And yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, the folks in Western North Carolina, they need the help. Yeah. And so this would be a big help for them. Again, Governor Stein, this has been a big priority. Julie Kay, I know you're busy. I know you've been tracking the budget proposal news conference. You're also tracking what's going on in the North Carolina legislature. Thank you for your time. And you'll be on later updating us with the story, right?
Yeah, and like I said, the Senate's going to be in session at 4, so I'll have some more on, the teacher pay and the tax cuts at 4 while, kind of actively updating people on that. Then hopefully by 5 we have some sort of decision there. Regardless, I'll be on then as well to kind of update people.
The busiest woman in the newsroom, Julie Kay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Nick.